Hello and a very good morning to everyone. I'm going to take a recap of what we've seen over the weekend, overnight and this morning. So firstly, the Shanghai comp, that finished down in some negative territory on the back of comments from Chinese Premier Wen. He was pretty downbeat on the economy. Japanese markets were closed due to a holiday, but that negative territory, or that downside, was spilled over into Europe slightly. Did open ever so slightly lower. Main bit of focus, however, was on a story running the Wall Street Journal that noted that ECB's President Draghi had hinted at senior bondholders of those bonds issued by Spanish bonds to take a haircut. We have already seen comments along a similar line for junior bondholders, but slightly more serious with that seniority. So just adding to a bit more uncertainty in the markets. This morning, however, we have seen the ECB decline to comment on that news story. Also, over the weekend, we saw an article in Italian press noting the Italian finance minister who said that he would make moves to save around 100 billion euros over the next 5 years, and that includes privatisations and selling state assets as well. Other than that, just taking a look across the market, we've seen pretty thin volumes. Newsfare has been light this morning. Bond futures just coming under some slight pressure in the early European trade, but again on nothing particularly driving that other than thin markets and that comments that we saw over the weekend. We've also seen a bit of downside in terms of euro as well, and in the Euribor strip, in the short end, we've seen some downside. Today's fix slightly, or not quite as low as the call had been, however it was still lower than the previous, and that Euribor fix continuing to fall since the ECB cut rates last week. But for the time being, that's enough from me. Just looking ahead, we've got the US advanced retail sales, but again it does look to be fairly quiet as we head into the summer months and also the Olympic Games in London. But for the time being, that's enough from me. Hope you have a very pleasant afternoon.